You're listening to WRUU-LP, Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings, community radio with global soul.
Check, check, 1, 2. Look like a little country, some rock and roll and blues, 'cause we sure love playing for good people like you. Let me know if you can hear me. Check, check, 1, 2.
Welcome to Music Local and Sustainable, the radio show that features discussions with and the music of local musicians. I am your host, Dave Lake. Tonight, we are with the Irish folk punk band In For A Penny. Although only recently on the music scene in Savannah, they have developed an avid, may I say, drunk following. Welcome, In For A Penny.
Hello.
How's it going?
That's nice.
Good description.
Yeah.
I'm going to let the band introduce themselves.
Go ahead, Han.
I'm known as Henny the Butcher, but my real name is DeJuan Henderson. Come from Gary, Indiana, Chicago area. Made it all the way down here to Savannah, Georgia. I don't know how I made it to Tybee, but I met Sean, through Bar Church, and then started working at the Sandbar on Tybee, and me and Sean just started. I came out the kitchen actually on a cajon while Sean was playing the mandolin, and that's how it started with us. But other than that, I'm glad to be here. That's all I have to say right now.
I'm Jeremy Riddle, play the guitar and do interpretive dance as well.
That he does.
Mm-hmm.
He's quite well, actually.
A lovely dancer. Yes.
In the kick.
Quite.
Heck yeah. As long as there's Bushmills.
Yeah, right. And the more the better.
Yes.
I'm Sean McNeil. I guess I'm the ringleader of this circus. I play mandolin and sing and try to keep these guys in line, which is a full-time job.
I'm Bryce McNally. I play bass.
New guy.
Yeah, I'm the new guy. I'm the roadie.
He's still earning his keep.
Yeah, exactly.
But he's pretty.
He is that. He's a very pretty man.
I got the pretty boy card in the band, so.
Can you define Irish folk punk, or, as I know you're fond of saying, Irish-ish folk punk?
Exactly. I don't know that there is a definition. That's what's so fun about it. Because it's all of those things. There's some Irish influence in what we do. That's why we call it Irish-ish. Everybody asks me, "Oh, are you from Ireland?" I'm like, "No, I grew up in Michigan." This is just an interest. I can trace my family back to the 1600s in Dublin, and I have, which is pretty cool. But I didn't grow up in any of that heritage or anything. I mean, it just is. It's an interest now that I've gotten in the musical style. But I don't know the music. We just sort of say it's it's good foot stomping, beer drinking, whiskey sipping music. It's a lot of fun. We kind of use the word rowdy. We've kind of grabbed that adjective to try to describe kind of what we do, but it's a little bit of everything. And then we kind of throw our own. It's so funny. All of us come from such different backgrounds. Henny comes out of growing up playing in churches. Church drummer. Jeremy's got all over the place, punk and reggae and goodness knows.
It's hard for me to focus.
And then Bryce comes out of like death metal and grindcore stuff, playing bass. And I still listen to like Tears for Fears and 80s stuff, and we play a little bit of all of that in kind of what we do and sort of mash it all together, stir it up with some whiskey, and it gets a little more Irish, just kind of the angle that we're leaning toward. So it's weird, it's hard to describe. And when people are like, so what is that? Well, that means they've never heard anything. So I'm like, well, you ever heard of Dropkick Murphys or Flogging Molly? Because it means they haven't heard of any other bands in the genre at all. And they're like, oh yeah, I'm like, that's kind of like that. But then intentionally, we're not doing Flogging Molly or Dropkick Murphy songs. I think we do one of each of those in our sets because we're not trying to be some Flogging Molly, Dropkick Murphys cover band. It's like, no, we want to do our own interpretation of stuff. And whether we're playing Tears for Fears or Sinead O'Connor or our original stuff or Journey, it's like it depends on what we're doing. So no, I can't. Long answer short. Which I never do. That's true.
We got some hints of your background, but why don't we go a little bit more into detail into each of your musical journeys? And we'll start with Henny over there.
Mine started, I used to be a really good dancer in my city, so I was getting promoted, and I was in a little dance group called Little Men in Effect, LME. But then it all started from there, just playing in high school band, and my life is actually like the movie Drumline. I never knew how to read music, but I got straight A's in band. Then it came to the fact that us drummers in high school started teaching other drummers in other high schools our cadences. We were that good. We didn't listen to the drum major or nothing like that. We did our own thing. But in church all the time I was playing drums, and I progressed, and it was brutal up there in the Midwest, because when you play drums up there, it's like it's so many good drummers. So you're on the back burner. You had to move up step by step by step. I didn't get mad. I just kind of looked at what everybody was doing, and I took a little piece from everybody and developed my own style. I got out of church for a while, went to the military, then I came back, moved to Atlanta, and I played in a little heavy metal band, but the singer was throwing hissy fits, so I got out of that. Then I stopped playing for a while, then I moved into the rap world, which I got a rap following too. I did a lot of groups in here in Savannah, and then that's a brutal industry, so I just kind of just swayed away from that and do my own thing. Landed on Tybee, started working, became a local. Then I met Sean and Bryce, and then we started playing like at Tybee Bar Church and everything. Then just time went past. I worked at the Sandbar. Sean stumbles in there for open mic, and there we have it. Then I met Jeremy. He used to come and play the reggae sets there, and me and him hit it off. I learned this set, and he was like, cool, man, we need to get something going. But while me and him was saying that, Sean and him was talking already. I didn't know this was going to happen, but it just kind of fell into place. We knew each other. We know each other's songs. We know each other's breaks. We look at each other. We never get mad at each other. We just make silly faces and keep going. That's what I like about this band. It's like a family. It's not a band. Everybody's not pressuring no one. We just have fun. And I just want to take it a step further. This city needs a change, and I think we're it in the music scene. I'm just saying, we, like Sean say, his slogan is, we're not here to fit in, we're here to take over. But that's in a positive way, not in a negative way, in a positive way.
Cool.
I can add, I stumbled into the Sandbar too.
There's a lot of stumbling. There's a lot of stumbling in this band.
More than likely stumbled out.
Yeah, more often than not.
And apparently some stumbling home.
Yes, oddly
A little
enough.
bit.
Lots.
Up on the ground, right next to me bed. Me clothes were all disheveled, and me eyes are bloody red. Me memory is fuzzy, there's an aching in me head. Must have got into the whiskey last night. 1, 2, 3 shots of whiskey, pour a couple back for those who wander and roam. 7, 8, 9 shots of whiskey, and it looks like I'll be stumbling home. Me friend, when I get into the whiskey, usually wind up round the bend. It makes it hard to make it home when you're 3 sheets to the wind. Should have stayed away from the whiskey last night. 1, 2, 3 shots of whiskey, pour a couple back for those who wander and roam. 7, 8, 9 shots of whiskey, and it looks like I'll be stumbling home. Whiskey, she just no quarter. I should have stayed with a stout or a porter. If I can just get me head and me feet to play nice together, I'll be fine. Yes, I'll be fine.
I grew up playing music, and I grew up in Dalton, Georgia, up in North Georgia, and my family is very musical. We were involved with the church as well, and that's where I kind of got started singing and doing stuff like that. And then I moved down to Savannah after I graduated high school, and started up a band here in town with my brother and a couple other guys from Virginia, a group called Argyle that played for about 7 or 8 years around town. Put a couple albums out with those guys, which was a blast. It was another really hard to find band as well. There was a lot of punk, reggae, and progressive rock kind of mixed together, but that also challenged me to learn a lot and diversify myself as far as music went. Moved out to California with my brother in 2008. Was out there basically just goofing around, but I had a blast getting to do it. Got to play a lot of the stages that were on my bucket list as far as the Sunset Strip went. I had a band out there called Burnt Matches that we played with that was more of like a grungier, heavier rock and roll style. After about 5 years out in Los Angeles, I ended up moving back to Savannah, and I've been playing around town, doing solo sets, things like that, a lot of the cover gigs and that kind of deal. And I sit in with a lot of different other kinds of bands, again in an effort to kind of diversify my knowledge of music. And stumbled into the Sandbar, and there you go. We ended up stumbling out with a band. I think it's kind of cool that we can apply all that diversity in our background and all that to what the style that we do. We kind of Irish up every different genre that we have. Mm-hmm. It's fun. It's really a cool challenge. I didn't know anything about Irish music really until I started jamming with Sean. I was that guy who only really was aware of Flogging Mollies and Dropkick Murphys. Then he's broadened my horizon on that as far as on the traditional sense with Irish music and with some of the more aggressive like punk style stuff, which I really dig. And that brings us to here.
Henny said that you actually came into the Sandbar with a reggae.
Mm-hmm. I did a lot of the solo stuff that I do, the covers and stuff like that. I do a lot of genre twisting is what I call it, and a lot of the covers. Being a cover artist in Savannah, it's kind of what you have to do. That's your bread and butter when you do the solo stuff. And I didn't want to fall into the same categories as a lot of the people, because there are a lot of musicians that play here, and it gets to be very similar playlists this year over and over again. Not that it's a discredit to their style, but it does kind of get mundane because you hear the same thing everywhere you go. Decided my little twist was to throw everything into almost a reggae style. I use a loop station and have my own backing tracks and do everything on the fly. It's kind of a one-man band kind of situation when I do that. And it tends to be predominantly reggae is where I go with that. So that's actually where we first kind of connected, was coming into the open mics out at the Sandbar and sitting in with Henny and just going with my reggae style.
And do you do that around town?
I still do. Yeah, absolutely. I love it. I pretty much play music all week long, as much as I can, out and about. I'm an addict when it comes to that. I got to be out playing, so yeah, so that definitely still keep it up. But there's nothing like playing a rowdy In For A Penny show. I can guarantee that. The solo stuff's more income. In For A Penny stuff's when I get to let loose and shrug off the responsibilities. Just have a good time.
Oh, Sean.
Yeah, it's funny. I grew up in a house with no music. You hear about these kids that grew up and their parents listened to the Stones and the Beatles and stuff. My dad was a teacher. There was no noise. It was quiet. And when he did listen to music, it was John Denver and Anne Murray and ABBA. So that's like what I grew up with. And my dad played guitar a little bit, and we'd camp a lot. And I sit around the campfire and learned how to play. He showed me 3 chords and a John Denver song, and I wanted to play. And I was never that good. I wasn't that kid that was like, oh, I was born to play guitar. I just enjoyed playing. And so I learned really early on that I was really bad at practicing. I just liked to play. And so I figured, well, I'm going to be the rhythm guy. I'm never going to be that lead guy. I'm never going to be that shred guy. And I got slow fingers, so I didn't have a lot of choice. My brother and I, my brother's a drummer, and we grew up kind of playing together, put some little bands together and messing around and trying to do that stuff. And right out of high school, we joined with some guys that we grew up with that had put a band together and looking for a rhythm player and a drummer. This would have been the late 80s. And it was one of these crazy kind of funk metal bands, and we all had long hair and ripped jeans, and it was ridiculous. But it was a blast, and I did that, and moved out to Virginia, started playing with my brother and some other dudes, and same kind of stuff. See, our guitar player and singer, told me about this Highland Games. I didn't know anything about Highland Games. I didn't know what that was. I'm like, that sounds like fun. Dudes throwing telephone poles around. Let's go do that. So we went to that, and there was a band called Seven Nations. They're out of Orlando. I had never seen anything like it. It was like a rock band with bagpipes, and it was insane. And my singer said, dude, this is what we need to do. I'm like, I'm in, man. That's brilliant. And I don't know who's playing bagpipes, but I'm in. So we put a handful of different bands together like that. Actually had a chance to play with those guys a couple of times. I'm still friends with them. They're good dudes. That kind of pushed me into that Irish realm. And what was fun about watching it is, you watch kids that are 2 years old, you watch people that are 95 years old, and they're having a blast. We didn't have that in the metal bands we played in. That was not your demographic. Our demographic is everybody, because it's just a blast. And then it wasn't fun anymore. So I quit. I just quit playing music about, probably 15 years ago. I just completely. I've got 5 kids and my wife, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to put my time there. And I didn't play anything. Put everything down and moved to Tybee about 4.5 years ago. Of course, being in the Savannah area in Tybee, there's so much great music. Most of it's free. You just wander in and you can see anybody. And you get to see the train wrecks and the accomplices. And I got to know these guys and see these guys around. It was like, man, this is really fun. And the bug kind of bit me. I had this mandolin that my wife's grandfather gave me about 25 years ago. And I didn't know thing one about it. Didn't know how to tune it, play it, anything. But I was like, well, there's YouTube. So I got on YouTube and just started goofing off with it. And I fell in love with it. And I play it like a punk guitar. There's a lot of really good mandolin players in town. I am not one of those. I'm a clown. But I want to get better. I want to learn. But we're playing to our strengths by being in an Irish punk band. So I don't have to be that good. It's 3 chords, and we just make sure that everybody's smiling. But it's a blast. I've had a chance to play with the traditional guys, Savannah Cayley Band down at Kevin Barry's. Sit in with them, and I'm really trying to do that more to really learn that real traditional side, to start pulling that in some too. But it's just been fun goofing off and doing that. That's my musical progression.
I started playing guitar at 11. The old man here, he showed me how to play Smells Like Teen Spirit. And from that point on, I just went with it and rolled and practiced every day. He enjoys playing, but doesn't enjoy practicing. I can sit and practice for 7 hours a day and come out of it feeling like I just played 6 shows.
And you did.
I mean, I just took right off playing guitar, got a drum set, got a bass, got any instrument I could get my hands on because I just wanted to learn all of them. So when I went into high school, met up with some guys. They said they were starting this heavy metal band. I'd never played heavy metal before, but that's all I'd listened to my whole life. I joined in with them, sat in on a practice. I was playing bass for just one of their songs. They pulled me in on it. They said, let's do this. So we ended up at 15 years old, 16 years old. After a year of playing together, we ended up having an album recorded in Richmond, Virginia. That band ended up playing shows, had a great time with that all through high school, and then had some falling outs a little bit here and there, and had the opportunity to move down here, all about at the same time. So headed down here, continued with the music, tried to keep going with the heavy metal thing, ended up falling into a punk band, played some punk here in Savannah for a while, and then started doing open mics for the first time, playing by myself instead of playing with a band and relying on other people. And then that kind of turned into just playing open mics with my dad, and then they asked if I wanted to play bass with them. I immediately jumped on and said yes. First of all, to be playing music with my dad, something I wanted since he showed me how to play Teen Spirit. Also being able to play with Jeremy and Henny. I played with Henny before in a prior band as well. We did funk hip-hop. I immediately knew how amazing of a musician he is. Just absolutely phenomenal. So I wanted to jump on that, hands down. Now here we are. I'm having the most fun I've ever had playing music in my life. It's the simplest music I've ever played, but man, I can have so much fun.
Yep.
Just the freedom of stage is amazing.
If we could pick one recorded song that you guys do, and you wanted that song to reflect what you do, what song would it be?
Would have to say Stumbling.
Yeah.
Stumbling. Yeah, there's a theme going on. That's the one.
We just finished an EP down at the Elevator Basement with Shane Baldwin from Voodoo Soup, engineered it for us. We just got the mixes back earlier this week, and Stumbling Home, it's fun to play live. It's our audience participation song, but when we heard it recorded, we actually got Ricardo from Velvet Caravan to come in and play violin on it. I messed around with him some stuff I did out at the Tybee Post Theater. We just kind of hit it off, and I've seen him around town playing with Velvet Caravan. And so when I knew we were going in the studio, I just sent him a message and said, hey, would you be willing to come in and play violin on this one song? I was nervous to have a bunch of extra musicians playing, and then we show up and we don't have any of that stuff, but I was like, this one song, there's one part that just needs this violin, and would he be willing to do it? And he said, dude, I will do anything, anywhere with you guys. That is a blast. And he came in the studio and just ripped, and he was laying down track on top of track. He's like, let me do it again. Let me get nasty on this one. And he was having so much fun because he doesn't get to do that in Velvet Caravan. Well, we let him go wild at what we were doing.
I woke up on the ground, right next to me bed. Me clothes were all disheveled and me eyes are bloody red. Me memory is fuzzy, there's an aching in me head. Must have got into the whiskey last night. 1, 2, 3 shots of whiskey, pour a couple back for those who wander and roam. 7, 8, 9 shots of whiskey, and it looks like I'll be stumbling home. The devil and the whiskey is me friend. When I get into the whiskey, usually wind up round the bend. It makes it hard to make it home when you're 3 sheets to the wind. I should have stayed away from the whiskey last night. 1, 2, 3 shots of whiskey, pour a couple back for those who wander and roam. 7, 8, 9 shots of whiskey, and it looks like I'll be stumbling home. She gives no quarter. Should have stayed with a stout or the porter. If I could just get me head and me feet to play nice together, I'll be fine. Yes, I'll be fine until next time. 2, 3 shots of whiskey, pour a couple back for those who wander and roam. 7, 8, 9 shots of whiskey, and it looks like I'll be stumbling home. 1, 2, 3 shots of whiskey, pour a couple back for those who wander and roam. 7, 8, 9 shots of whiskey, and it looks like I'll be stumbling home.
But yeah, stumbling home when we finally heard that final mix was like, oh my God, really? That's us? Holy.
We sound good.
Yeah, like, wow, who knew? If somebody were to say, so what do you do? I'd throw that song out there with anybody and say, yep, if you're deciding who's coming to play, if you don't like that, then you don't want us. That's what we do right there. Yep. The content, the style, that's us.
Nailed it.
And I have to tell you, it's got one of my favorite lines. If I could just get my head and feet to play nice together.
Yeah, we've all had those nights. You're like, that's all I need to do. You guys, just be good to each other. We'll all be just fine.
I had one last Thursday.
After the Huckapoos gig.
Oh, man. I just kept drinking shots, man, and I was, oh, man.
Come on, Pete, catch up.
You can do this. You can do this. We've done it before.
So, Henny, you got to the 7, 8, 9 part of the lyrics.
And I was on 37 and 42. And
Henny's funny, too, because Henny doesn't drink much. It's funny, we talk about all this stuff, but we're not big drinkers. We're playing 3-hour sets. And I actually have set like very specific limits for myself. It's the only way we can make it through 3 hours of doing what we're doing, because we go full blast for 3 hours. And it's a lot of fun. And sometimes we'll do it 90 minutes at a pop. When we take a break, we're not one of these 45-minute break bands. We get 10 minutes, take a leak, grab another beer, and let's get back at it, because we're having a blast doing this. But yeah, we have an inordinate number of songs about drinking for a band that's really not a bunch of drunks. But it sounds like we would be, and we like a good bit of Irish whiskey.
Yeah.
It's funny. I got thinking about how many songs. I'm like, wow, I should probably write a song about something else. I sound like an alcoholic. You know, like,
You don't go to meetings, man.
right? Exactly. Alcoholics go to
You're
meetings.
just a drunk. No.
Actually, on the new EP, there is one song, although if you looked at just the title, you'd think it was a drinking song, but it really is a great
Parting glass.
heartfelt song, the Parting Glass. You almost want to cry.
Of all the money that e'er I had, I spent it in good company, and all the harm that e'er I done, alas, it was to none but me. All I done for want of wit, to memory now I can't recall. So fill to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be to you all. So fill to me the parting glass, and drink a health, whate'er befall. And I'll gently rise, and I'll softly call. Good night and joy be to you all. Of all the comrades that e'er I had, they're sorry for my going away, and all the sweethearts that e'er I had, they wish me one more day to stay. And it should fall unto my lot that I should rise and you should not. I'll gently rise and I'll softly call. Good night and joy be to you all. So fill to me the parting glass, and drink a health, whate'er befall. And I'll gently rise, and I'll softly call. Good night and joy be to you all.